When's the last time you simply sat and listened to God? Hi, Will here with the Discipleship Pathway Mission Insight. So often our prayers are talk, 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 and we ask for things, and that marks our prayer life. I call this practical prayer. When's the last time you started your prayer with just listening? And have you ever asked Jesus how you can join in him in the work he's already doing in you and around you, wherever you live, work, learn, and play? Let's maybe talk about a different way to pray. It's called the prayer circles. Let's use the Lord's Prayer as our guide. To start, in Luke chapter 11, verse 1, Jesus' disciples ask him a question, and they ask him, "Can you teach us how to pray?" And when we read his response in Matthew chapter 6, verse 9, he says, "This then is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name." See, our prayer begins with a holy God, which invites our respect. It also begins with a loving Father, which invites our rest. He's both Father and King. And so we ready ourselves in prayer and respect in a posture of rest, ready to listen. Yes, listening. Jesus tells us in John 10:27 that his sheep listen to his voice, and we read in Luke 5:16 that Jesus drew away from others to be alone with the Father. You see, prayer isn't just a one-way monologue, but a relational dialogue, an experience of abiding with the Father, being with him. You see, Jesus needed this time with the Father to do the right things at the right times for the right reasons. Jesus tells us in John 8 that he does nothing out of his own initiative, but speaks these things as the Father had taught him. The Apostle Paul tells us to pray without ceasing, and that instruction seems a whole lot more realistic when we approach prayer with a posture of listening. We're constantly listening to the Father in a relational dialogue as we stay in step with the Spirit. So as we start with listening prayer, we start with that posture of respect, with permission to rest, ready to listen. And we ask this question: Father, how are you already at work in me and around me wherever I live, work, learn, and play? This prayer can continue throughout your day. Before each activity, we can ask and listen on the way to work. We ask and listen on the way to the next meeting. We ask and listen on the way home. We ask and listen at our kids' practice. We ask and we listen. From listening prayer, we then move on to missional prayer. And it's the next part of the Lord's Prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. See, in this petition of the prayer, we orient ourselves around the Missio Dei, or the mission of God. And the mission is the most important task that you and I get to be a part of. But what does this kingdom mission look like? We're asking and we're pleading that the realities of heaven become a reality on earth. And in Matthew 19:28, Jesus tells it that this mission is the renewal of all things. All wrong things made right, every dead thing alive, all broken made whole. Jesus said the kingdom of God is the place where heaven is breaking through, which begins in our own hearts first, then extends to others in our spheres of influence, wherever we live, work, learn, and play. If the words in our listening prayer are rest and respect, then the key words in our missional prayer are surrender and serve. In missional prayer, we first surrender to his will and his mission. And then we ask these questions: Father, how can I join you in your mission, in this renewal of all things? So continue with this prayer throughout your day and all your comings and goings. Then we move to practical prayer. Jesus tells us to pray for our daily bread. This is where we submit our practical and petitional prayers, the tangible needs that we have and the tangible needs of others in our community. You see, Jesus uses this we-us language. And in James 5:17, we read that the earnest prayer of a righteous person has great power and produces wonderful results. Here are the two questions that we can ask as we approach this practical prayer. Father, here are my needs. How can I trust you with this? Neighbor, how can I pray for you? So pray early, pray often, and without ceasing. We ask, we listen, respect and rest, surrender and serve as everyday missionaries. And I hope this Mission Insight was helpful for you. And if you'd like more, visit us at Fremont.Church. Have a great day.